Hi there, this is Todd Nauck, and you're watching me do a drawing of Dazzler. Got the idea to do this last night. I thought it'd be fun to just play with my Copic markers and do a sketch. So I thought, why not do Dazzler? Because, and then not only draw the Dazzler, but post a video of me drawing it. It's my first time to do this. Because my latest comic is coming out today. That's Iron Age #3, which guest stars the disco era Dazzler. So I thought I would try drawing up Dazzler again. Dazzler's a lot of fun to draw. She's one of my favorite X-Men. I'm a big fan of the 1980s X-Men team when they were in the Australian outback with Dazzler, Rogue, Longshot, Colossus, Havoc, Wolverine, and Storm, and Psylocke. So that's my favorite era of X-Men, so Dazzler is one of my favorite characters from that time. Even though she wasn't really doing the disco thing as much back then. Well, really at all back then, but still. Iron Age #3 was a great opportunity to get to draw Dazzler. I was given the choice of drawing from editor Tom Brennan, who I've worked with quite a bit. He asked if I'd like to be involved with the project and if I had a preference of drawing Power Man or Dazzler. And since I'd already done a Luke Cage story for him for the assistant editor special about a year or two back, I decided I'd like to try drawing Dazzler. So, and you've just seen there, I finished the pencil stage. I like to rough everything in pencil and then go right into the Copic markers. I found that sometimes the pigment microns will bleed a little bit if I put that down first and then add the Copic. So I instead will color in with the Copic first, sculpt in all the color. I love the brush tips to the Copic sketch markers. It's almost like sculpting with color. I really enjoy the consistency of these brush tips. They're awesome. I barely ever use the other side, the broad tip, because these brush tips are so great. So I go in with all the flesh tones here, and then with a lighter tone, then just keep darkening up in different shadows just to model out the shapes of the different planes of the figure and the body as necessary. So yeah, when Tom Brennan asked if I'd like to draw, he offered me Dazzler, I was very excited with that alone. But then when I found out Louise Simonson wrote the issue, the chapter of Iron Age, I was very excited because I've been a fan of Louise Simonson's work from New Mutants and X Factor back in the day. X Factor being one of my all-time favorite comic book runs, with drawn by Walter Simonson, her husband, who is one of my biggest art influences. So there I am doing the hair. I like to sculpt each kind of plane or section of hair out and then continue just to darken up. Same here with her Dazzler's kind of eye makeup mask thing. Start with a light blue, then shade up with even darker blues. And now doing the same with her disco costume using neutral tone grays here for a kind of a silvery look is the attempt I'm going for here. And so starting with lighter grays and continuing to go with darker grays. Then going back over with lighter grays or any lighter color to smooth things out. I think I'll end up adding a little bit of light blue here amidst her costume to give it some different reflective type surfaces. So yeah, Iron Age 3 comes out today. So please do pick that up. Check it out. It was a lot of fun. It's got the Hellfire Club in it, and the Iron Age story, if you haven't been checking it out, is present day Tony Stark Iron Man is thrust into the past, the 1980s era Marvel, via a compromised Doctor Doom time platform. So he's got to rebuild the time platform to get back to present day Marvel Universe to avert a crisis, a world earth-shattering disaster. And so each time he gets a new piece of the time platform, he's thrown to a different time period of the 1980s era Marvel. Not specifically the 1980s, but just, what we were reading as the 1980s back in the 80s, but it's, time moves differently in comics. So now here I am going in with the inks, starting with the eyes. I made the mistake of shooting this from over my right side shoulder, just because it was more space in the office, but I didn't realize that my hand would be covering up the smaller details as I pencil, color, and ink. So for future videos, I'll make sure I shoot from over my left shoulder so that my hand does not block the things I'm drawing. So I apologize for that. Yeah, so in my issue, so Iron Man is teamed up with different superheroes. So that includes Captain Britain, Johnny Storm from the Fantastic Four, back in the 80s when he had a red costume. Power Man and Iron Fist, which was a fun story. It's fun to actually read that issue and consider that I could have been drawing it, and how would I have approached that story. But then here, issue 3 is chapters 5 and 6. So this starts with my Dazzler story and then continues with and the X-Men chapter, which is the Phoenix era X-Men, written by Rob Williams and penciled or drawn by Roberto De La Torre. So definitely worth checking out. So please, I'll go into the comic shop today or this week. Grab a copy of Iron Age number 3. If you like it, then and you missed the previous chapters, hopefully you can track those down as well. But let's see. Yeah, I'm coming in here now with just continuing with inks. I enjoy inking with the Pigma Microns. I use the 005, 01, 05, and 08 for most of my inking. The 01 and 005 for the finer details, 05 and 08s for more of the contours and broader strokes. I'm starting to get into doing some brush stuff, so I plan on doing more with that as I start to feel more and more comfortable with it. I like the energy that can come with a brush, and I've started to feel more savvy with the brushes thanks to the brush tips of the Copic markers. So I'm really starting to feel a little more confident with using brush, and I'd like to do that even more. I find I really enjoy the texture of a brush stroke, but it does take a little more practice to feel a little more confident. So here I am adding more darker areas to the costume, little shines and highlights and stuff, little reflected surfaces. Really try to make Dazzler pop. And now for the background. Here with the brush tip, you can see there it makes a really nice fade for that starburst effect, which I really enjoy that. And so we're on the tail end of finishing this up here, filling in all the background, and I'm going to then come in after I get the background here filled in with some whiteout to add some extra power details for Dazzler, for her power effect of creating lights. Now, if you aren't familiar with Dazzler, she has been around since early 1980s, and she is a mutant who can absorb sound and then turn it into lasers and light. Here we go with the whiteout. Add some more to her costume. So she's able to, and she's a pop star, so she does her own light shows back in the day. So I'm going to sign it up, and yeah, that's about it. I hope y'all enjoyed this, and look for more. Pick up Iron Age number 3. See y'all later.